Monday, week 12, number 1. Them are stories Marshall wrote by himself, bragged his mom. We have speaker tag, so we want to say them are stories Marshall wrote by himself around bragged mom. And to tell us what the speaker tag is, we are going to have Elijah Riggs tell us.
Bragged his mom.
Is the speaker tag?
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Elijah. It should not be his self. What should it be, Annabelle?
It should be himself.
Thank you, Annabelle. Right, it should be himself. Them are stories Marshall wrote himself. And instead of them are stories, it should be...
It should be those instead of them.
Thank you, Ben. It should be those instead of them. Those are stories Marshall wrote by himself. Okay, number 2. Mimi and her nephew spends the day at the boardwalk where they went on a lot of rides. Mimi and her nephew is not right. It's not N-E-F-E-W. It should be, N-E-P-H-E-W. Mimi and her nephew, they shouldn't spend the day all day. They just what the day at the boardwalk?
Should say spent their day at the boardwalk.
Thank you, Ethan. They spent the day at the boardwalk. The boardwalk is not spelled right. It's B-O-A-R-D for boardwalk. B-O-A-R-D, the boardwalk. Where is spelled wrong. It should be W-H-E-R-E. Where they went on a lot of rides. Mimi and her nephew spent the day at the boardwalk where they went on a lot of rides. One more thing that we could add to that. Nope, comma's already there. We'll move on to number 3. Possessive noun phrase, the equipment belonging to the tennis team. If the tennis team owns the equipment, it would be, and we will have Brooke telling us who the equipment belongs to. Brooke, who does the equipment belong to? The equipment belonging to the tennis team, it is the...
My mom is supposed to say
Say it's the tennis team's equipment.
It's the tennis team's equipment.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. It is the tennis team's equipment. Moving on, 4 and 5, we have to find the direct object and the indirect object. Dakota's going to let us know what the direct object is here when Hannah writes her friends around the world long, funny emails. Hannah writes. What does Hannah write, Dakota?
World long funny emails.
Funny emails, and so emails is our direct object. Who does she write them to? She writes them to her friends. And finally, number 5, we contributed $500 to the End of Hunger Fund. What did we contribute? It was $500. $500 is your direct object. You do not have an indirect object in that sentence. And that is all for Monday, week 12.